Hello and welcome everyone, Lionheart here, and we are back with another Warcast. This time it's all about Warhammer 2, and joining me as usual is Alex the Rambler and Warrior Sparta, and our guest this Warcast is Indypride.
Hey, what's going on, people?
How you guys doing?
Very well, sir.
I'm alright, thanks. Just finished streaming in a cowboy outfit, so...
I know, I want you to keep it on.
Twitch.tv/Rambler146. Plug. Straight away.
Shameless plug.
Into the plug.
Have you still got the ball?
No, it's deflated right now.
Oh.
Yeah.
Just like my dreams.
Hold on, let me find a picture on my...
Just like my dreams.
Let me find a picture. But carry on, we'll come back to this.
So yeah, this Warcast is all about Warhammer 2. That's just had its trailer announced and a fair bit of information around it as well. We've got Indypride on here for his insane Warhammer lore and knowledge, and he's been doing plenty of videos, not just on Warhammer 2, but also Warhammer 1 about all the various races and the lore, and that is Rambler, I think, mounting a bull. So,
yeah, no, that's me in Halloween. I went into work as the cowboy.
It looks like it'd be really hard to walk around in.
It is, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying
you have to get to the toilet?
is a lot. No, I had to take it off to go to the toilet.
It's like a onesie.
Pretty much, but except the shirt isn't. It just goes around the waist, and yeah. Anyway, sorry,
Nice.
carry on.
But yeah, so yeah, Warhammer 2, we've got Indy on here to go through some lore and help us through with some of those bits. We'll talk about all the features that have so far been announced, probably speculate about a fair few as well, lords and races and all that as well. Then I guess probably have a brief kind of recap about the last major content update for Warhammer 1, which is obviously Bretonnia and the Old World edition. And then just have a general catch up with everyone and what we're looking forward to in the rest of the year, pretty much.
Yeah, Warhammer 2.
So I guess to start off, Indy, what did you think of the Warhammer 2 trailer?
Well, I thought it was gorgeous. I'm way more excited about these base races than I was about the first game. I think Lizardmen, High Elves, Dark Elves, and Skaven is a much better lineup than... Well, Empire made so much sense in the first game because they wanted to make a segue between like historical titles and Warhammer. Like they play like the Holy Roman Empire kind of would in like the 1600s or something. But with that said, like dwarfs, yeah, they're cool, but not really my style. And Empires, of course, historical-ish. So I just think that with the elves, with the lizardmen especially, I mean, like who doesn't want to see a T-Rex like just rip units apart, man? This is gonna be awesome. And then we get the Skaven, of course, which they haven't officially announced yet, but it's very clear that they're going to be the fourth race. There's so much hype behind that faction. They're probably the most popular race in Warhammer Fantasy, or certainly in the top 3. So it was awesome.
Do you think that they'll put that behind a paywall, so you have to pre-order to get the fourth faction?
I hope to God no.
No, they're not going to. Not with the Skaven. I don't think that they're going to be doing a full race as pre-order for this game. I'd honestly be surprised. I think that it makes a lot more sense to do a sub-faction or a minor faction or something.
Eurogamer interview, when it was brought up about how the community didn't react well to Warriors of Chaos, the response was, I mean, it was quite vague, but they sort of said whatever whatever that kind of pre-order, if there is one, it'll be appropriate, was their exact phrasing.
It says here, we do listen very carefully to what people think. It will be appropriate, let's put it that way.
So I think by appropriate they mean it won't be like what people designate a major race, kind of like Warriors of Chaos. It could be like a legendary lord or a very minor, faction in there that just adds a little bit of extra flavor for those that want to. I guess it's still got to be interesting enough to act as pre-order DLC or a pre-order bonus or whatever, but yeah, I guess we'll have to wait and see. But I think on the Steam page as well, it's just the fact that it says there's 4
Cunning
races.
Yeah.
Okay, right, yeah.
It's kind of there'll definitely be 4 in the base game, regardless of pre-orders and stuff.
Yeah, I think Grace actually confirmed on Twitter today that all 4 were going to be in the game, and on the Steam page it says like a 4th race yet unannounced has like cunning machinations or something, which is like literally like word for word. Like literally you could not make it any more clear without explicitly saying Skaven are in the game. So I'm not worried about it. They're going to be the 4th major race.
I want my
for sure.
rat ogres because I want to call one George.
It's like
it's
like Ian said.
It's Roger the Rat Ogre.
Ian said on the in the developer session at EGX, he even said like these sort of tease about the fourth race being deeper under the ground. So I was like,
Yeah.
God, it could be any more obvious. You know, obviously it's Skaven. But I don't think after the reception of what happened with Chaos, the pre-order DLC of Chaos, will that really be something they'll do again after what happened? I think surely now they'll learn from that and realise they can't really do that again.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, pre-orders are always going to be a thing, really, I guess. But I think, as I said, hopefully it'll be appropriate, whatever that precisely means. It'll be just, not as something as major.
Yeah. Are the Tomb Kings in the same continent as where it's being set?
The Southlands, aren't they? Is that right?
So the Lustria is South America, and Nagaroth is North America and Canada. It's U.S. and Canada, basically, so North America. And then, so in Africa, it's Southlands in the east and south, and it's Nehekara, which is where the Tomb Kings live, which is to the west of the Southlands. So
like Egypt.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, that's Araby, and then like Nehekara is kind of wrapped up in there, like sub-Saharan Africa. That's basically where it is. So we don't know yet if Tomb Kings are going to be in. Like, I guess I could see them possibly doing Tomb Kings as like a pre-order bonus. Again, I don't think they want to go down that route.
Yeah, they're quite substantial.
But this time we know that, like with the pre-order bonuses, that they're calling it early adopter, which is like marketing speak, but it is a little bit different than pre-order bonus because we actually get like that grace period, like a week or two after the game comes out, where it's still free if you buy the game in that time.
Yeah,
which is a little bit easier to swallow than like a regular.
I mean, that's what Warriors of Chaos turned into.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
and we didn't know about that back in December, which is when all the rage was happening. So there would have been less rage then, although there still would have been a lot.
Yeah. Still rage. Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, there almost seems to be as much rage about Warhammer 2 being announced.
Here we go. There's the key. Go.
There always seems to be as much rage being announced, being around Warhammer 2 being announced as the Chaos Warriors for being announced as pre-order DLC, and you probably know that I've made a video telling people to kind of get over the fact that a historical one wasn't announced. The phrasing, like, get over it, was probably a bit harsh, but the amount of comments that you see about people being disappointed, even though every single thing pointed to the announcement of Warhammer 2, and the developer session even said the future of Warhammer. So what else was it going to be?
Yeah,
well,
I think
a lot of the disappointment was from people who didn't, like, they obviously didn't see that news. They don't follow forums. They don't go on Reddit. So they aren't like up to date with all that stuff. So like, I understand being disappointed about it. The whole, like, the rage and backlash and whatever, like, and look, I get you want a historical title, but I don't think that it's, again, like with all that information, once they realized, that information's been out here for 2-3 weeks, like we knew this was coming. I feel like you don't really have as much room.
Plus, even further back before then, you know, we've known this was going to be a trilogy of standalone titles, and I guess it would make sense that they would follow on from each other. I mean, we don't know the full ins and outs of CA's development schedule or anything like that, but
we know what they're developing. They just haven't told us what. So there's 5 teams. Okay, I'll lay it out to you. If you haven't seen the forum post, there's 5 teams. Okay. There's the new content team, which there's probably a very small team of people working on a little bit of content for Total War Warhammer 1. There's the full production team in Total War Warhammer 2. You have the Black Wake or the Black Ops team working on an unannounced historical thing. It's not going to be a full game, but it will probably be like the size. I don't know. I imagine it'll probably be bigger than Age of Charlemagne, but smaller than a full title like Rome 2.
Like Attila.
You've got.
So it'll be
a full historical title in production. So that's 2 teams working on historical titles, and then you've got a 5th working on Arena. So that's 5 Total War teams, 2 of which are working on historical stuff. To an extent, you can say Arena is historical. So that's 3/5 of the Total War teams working on historical stuff. And when I said that in the video that I did, people were still saying that I'm being paid by CA and that I'm never gonna say anything bad about CA for risk of not getting early access, which is absolute bullshit.
God knows CA just cuts ties with anybody who says anything bad about them. That's why Legend still gets all this stuff. Like, you can't criticize them whatsoever. No, like that's
they're
not
saying I'm spineless and that Legend of Total War is the only honest Total War YouTuber. It's like, for God's sake, none of us have ever been paid by Creative Assembly to produce Total War content. We do it because we love the titles and we give fair criticism when that's applicable.
I think we're just a bit more
Okay.
realistic. Maybe.
Job done, yeah.
I don't know.
I
Maybe.
I don't go into the full kind of rant side of things with how I critique. I prefer just to give reasonable critique as I go through. At the end of the day, for me, it's not something worth getting that incensed by, I guess. And I think you can deliver reasonable, constructive feedback and criticism, in a regular tone and fashion.
What helps us as well is that we see it behind the scenes.
He's still triggered.
No, I mean we go to the studios, we see what's going on behind the scenes, so we get more of an idea in a way.
And we get asked all the time for their feedback. For our feedback going. So we can't dictate to Total War what we can tell them, but they're not going to. Most of the time, they are constrained by a development process in the form of a business, and a business is out to make money. So I don't know where I'm going with that point, but although we have a little bit more of an idea, we're not involved in the development process.
No.
I think a big part of it too, though, is that we personally know some of these CA employees and have met them, and there's a human element to it. So we understand they're human people. So and this is not necessarily a bad thing because it's very understandable. But someone who's never met a CA employee, never been to Horsham, England, or whatever, it's a lot easier for them to just look at CA as this big bad company. But it's important to remember that there are people behind that who need to work for salaries, are looking to provide for their families, blah blah blah. And I'm not making excuses. Obviously CA has made plenty of mistakes in the past. Yeah. And there's stuff to criticize them for sure.
I'm sure they will in the future. They're hardly perfect. I mean, I think all of us fully agree that we're not fans of sieges in Warhammer as they stand.
They really need a revamp.
Yeah.
No.
But yeah,
free for all. Please just put in free for all multiplayer.
God, that's another thing.
It's teased a little bit, isn't it?
There are even things that still trigger me that's in Total War, but I just enjoy games for what they are. It's when I'm going off topic a little bit, but for Mass Effect Andromeda, I'm a huge Mass Effect fan. So when I've seen this barrage of attack over the facial animations, which fair enough, they're not amazing, but it doesn't ruin the enjoyment of the game for me. And there was a targeted attack on an EA employee, some bigoted male groups were going after this woman because she worked on the facial animations. And I've actually met that woman in real life. I met her at a Twitch meetup in Vancouver. Lovely person. But even if I hadn't met her, there's still no reason to target people individually for the development of a video game. It's just disgusting, and I don't stand for that kind of stuff.
Who was the Rome 2 program? Who was the Rome 2 program again? That was awful, wasn't it? The Rome 2 AI battle AI program.
The targeting on
Julian McKinley.
Yeah. That's exactly the same.
But then again, at the end of the day, for all this kind of frustration that I'm venting out, I'm arguing with people on the internet.
Yeah,
it's
but the thing is, at the end of the day, the reason why you get so passionate about it is because you enjoy the Total War content so much, and I can totally appreciate the reason why the historical. Well, I don't want to segregate historical fans and Warhammer. We're all Total War fans.
All of us in here right now love historical and love Warhammer Total War.
Yeah, and that was the point of that video that I uploaded, was to try and just get people to not form that segregated community.
We don't need that.
Fantasy. We don't all just come together and celebrate the fact that Total War is still in development after almost 20 years. It's one of the longest running franchises in the world, and sometimes you need to do stuff to bring in a bit of fresh air to it, because sometimes they get stale. The franchise.
I think we said in one of the very first Warcasts that Warhammer itself was probably the biggest, most important development decision they've decided to do, because it took the gloves off, it took the limitations off of what historical titles often had in the confines of that, and allowed them to just go crazy with all the extra animation and stuff, and really just experiment with what they could do. They brought in magic to Total War, they brought in big monstrous creatures to Total War, they brought in flying units. It's amazing to see what they've done with this title, and if just a few of those things, not obviously flying and magic, but if a few things can trickle their way through into historical stuff, they'll be richer and better for it in terms of the game that's produced.
And I've seen some comments saying that having 2 Total War Warhammers in 2 years is too much, but okay, this will be my last point, and then we can.
I think I know what you're going to say, because I've done the same amount of research here. Yeah.
apart from 2008, there has been a historical Total War release every single year since the year 2000 to 2015. So the only year that there wasn't one was when they were moving to a new engine from Medieval 2 to Empire Total War. Until then, there was either an expansion or a brand new Total War every single year from 2000 to 2015, barring 2008. So the fact that the Total War Warhammer has already been in development for 5 years tells you that so they've announced it 11 months before, like after the initial Total War Warhammer. Chances are it'll be released at the end of 2017, so that's going to be a year and a half between Total War Warhammer and Total War Warhammer 2, and I think that's a pretty good gap.
Yeah.
Because they've already got the engine, they're just making the new races and a new campaign.
The foundation's already there.
The foundation's already there, so which is like it was with all the previous Total Wars, barring that year 2008 when production switched from Medieval 2 to Empire. So it's just like,
yeah. The too long didn't listen is that we're all fans of Total War here. There are some historical Total Wars that people will prefer more than others because of like the era. Like for me, Shogun 2, I'm not as interested in that as Medieval or whatever.
Heresy.
And that's the same thing. Shut up, Indy. And that's the same thing as with Warhammer. There are those that don't prefer this fantasy setting, and that's fine. You know, there is nothing wrong with not liking the Warhammer world. And you guys will be rewarded. Your patience will, you know, it will come to fruition with whatever this kind of stopgap historical stuff is that the Black Ops team headed up by Jack Lustard is, whether that's a mini standalone thing or DLC for Attila or Rome 2. And then eventually when the Warhammer trilogy is done, massive new historical game.
New engine.
Yeah, should just well be on a new engine and all that as well.
My advice to everyone, for the entire internet, is just don't attack people for having a differing opinion, and just don't insult people, because the Total War community, in the grand scheme of things, is still a pretty small one. So to try and segregate it and insult people, you know, there's better things to do with your life.
Plus, for the fact,
Rambler's trying to change the internet. Yeah. LOL.
Plus, for the most part, the Total War communities, the Total War communities, for the most part, the Total War community, for the most part, is a nice bunch, though. You know, it's actually, for the majority of it, it's a good group of peeps.
Yeah, that's for sure. Like I'm using isolated incidents to develop a bit of a I don't know, just yeah.
Eat a banana, mate. Eat a banana.
The vast majority, like 99% of the Total War community, absolutely fantastic. There's just that 1% that just needs to join the rest and just chill out, relax,
Netflix and chill.
Go for a walk in the sun. That's what I'm doing later.
I think the thing is as well, as like Indy said before, obviously they don't know there's human people behind these. In a way, you don't know who lies the human element of these people at Quaver Assembly. I think these people removed. They sit there on the PCs, you know, keyboard warriors, and all they see is it from a tunnel vision of the fact that there's not another historical title in the works, or they don't think there's another historical title coming out, and they don't see it from that element that, you know, there is people behind this.
Yeah, there's two teams.
Yeah,
plus Arena.
You got to take the blinkers off.
I did see 1-2 comments where people were saying like, "Oh, no historical. Arena's looking better and better."
Oh my god.
But anyway, let's get back to Warhammer 2, as that is the next Total War, whether you like it or not. That is the one that is coming up later this year. They have said as well that they'll be at E3 at the end of the Res talk.
Yes.
Ian was just like, "We'll see you at E3," and I was like,
"Yeah,
good for you. I won't be able to afford that plane ticket, but okay."
Where is E3?
E3.
LA.
Yeah, LA.
Oh, well, Total War, if you're listening, and if you want to fly me down,
invite me, yeah, please.
Yeah. The
big,
right-hand portion of your screen right now may well be at E3. These guys on the left, we're UK side.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, Indy, do you want to just run us through real quick, maybe like 1 or 2 key bits about each of the races that we've seen and heard about so far for Warhammer 2?
Okay. So if you follow my channel, I do a lot of lore videos. I just did a Dark Elf lore army and tactics video running down that whole, just the lore of their faction and what their army compositions are like. They're led by Malekith the Witch King, who's that badass looking gold mask and black armored dude in the trailer. Awesome. He is an incredibly powerful caster and melee fighter, one of the strongest characters in Warhammer Fantasy. He's a really scary dude, really evil dude. And the reason he wears that armor is because he was burned when he was walking through. Basically, any high elf king who wants to be king walks through a flame, and if they successfully get through, they're gonna be they're gonna be the king. And if they don't get through it, then they get burned horribly. And Malekith was a dick, and he has always been a dick. So what happened was he walked through, he got burned, and he basically his mommy had to fuse this armor to his skin, or he would basically die.
Darth Vader.
Do you think she'll be in it, by the way? His mother? In the game?
Marathi is his mother, and I'm like 98% sure she's going to be the second legendary lord. She's the hag sorceress of Grond, and she is one of the oldest characters in Warhammer Fantasy Battle, and she's really sexy because she bathes in the blood of elven babies.
Oh yeah,
that's basically.
Oh boy.
So like she would normally age, but she's an elf, so they live like super long time anyway, and they still look good when they're like thousands of years old. But she would, like, because she's so old, she would look really withered and scary, except that she's such a powerful sorcerer that she's able to, like, make sure that she stays eternally.
I was going to say, otherwise, we have two very different definitions of what sexy is, but that's fine.
How did the Dark Elves become dark?
How did they become dark?
Are they corrupted?
Yeah, kind of. Well, all elven races and all races in general were tainted by chaos in their own way. So like in the high elves, they were like a perfect race before, and then when chaos came into the world, they became kind of like arrogant, like we can save the world and do whatever we want to do. So that was kind of how they were tainted by chaos. The dark elves kind of became like Nazi Germans, basically. They were like, we are literally better than you, any other race, and we will kill you and play with you and torture you and murder you because we feel like it. But the difference between the High Elves and Dark Elves was that there was an event that's massively important in Warhammer Fantasy called the Sundering, where there was a massive civil war, and they tried to unbind the Great Vortex, the Dark Elves did, which is exactly what we'll be fighting over in Warhammer 2. And when they tried to unbind it, it basically ripped Ulthuan, which is where the High Elves live, in half. And so all of the citadels that the Dark Elves lived in, they used their magic and floated off in their fortresses to a different continent, and that's why there was just a big civil war. And so the Dark Elves had already hated the High Elves. They'd been warring with each other for thousands of years at that point, but that was the big impetus for them leaving the continent and why they hate each other, why there's a split between the two factions.
And the Wood Elves, did they just, like, we've had enough, we're going to another continent?
There were colonists from the High Elves that when the Sundering happened, they were like, why are we going to go back? Like, the High Elves don't care about us at all. They've got their own problems. And they had already been in the old world for centuries or millennia at that point. So they were like, we're not going to go back and fight in this war. We're going to do our own thing.
And what was the Sundering? Sorry, I'm really not up to date on Warhammer lore.
War. It was just civil war.
But the vortex that this game is surrounding, what's that all about?
Yeah, so you get like a hint of what that is in the trailer, but basically, you see a little bit of it when Teclis like looks back into the past. But it was Kalidor Dragon Tamer, which was the first like big dick high elf mage. Like he was super important back then, and he basically said, there's this huge demonic invasion, right? Like the entire world was getting overrun by demons. So they were like, we need to do something to get them out of here, or we're all gonna die. So they realized that they could use the Waystones, which were all throughout the world, to like harness magical energy that was like pouring in from this gigantic portal that was where the demons were coming from. And they said, okay, we can bind all this magic and send it back into the realm of chaos and make that portal way smaller and make sure that the demons can't be here anymore, because they can't manifest themselves in the mortal plane if they don't have magic to sustain them. So that vortex is literally take all the magical energy that's flowing through the world and shoot it back into the warp so that they can't be here anymore. That's the whole point.
Yeah,
and that's why they're fighting over it. That's going to be the main part of the Warhammer 2 campaign.
Yeah, and
aren't they all fighting for the same thing? So
they're fighting for different.
The lizard men.
You're fighting for control of it, but the lizard men and high elves will probably want to preserve the vortex.
Preserve it, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the dark elves will want to destabilize it. And who knows what Skaven will want to do with it. They'll probably have a play with it. Throw a rat ogre in there, you know. But this is I think the first Total War game where the AI can actually beat you to that objective, and that's like the main victory condition. Is I think you go through stages of like vortex control or influence or whatever, and apparently the AI can beat you to that, which will spell the end for you pretty much.
it seems to be, as you said then, it's just like it says here, like stages, and you sort of work towards that end game with the vortex. I see that potentially to be similar in its infancy when we had the chivalry in Bretonia, and you had each stage and you're working your way up. They could have that sort of mechanic.
The same with
similar to that,
like grudges as well, within public order bonuses and things like that. I imagine it'll have some kind of effect like that. And then I don't know if it will literally just, if you get through all the stages and you gain control, if that's just campaign 1, or whether it will, if you destabilize it, I don't know, just horrific stacks of chaos spawn and just destroy you, or
I think
or what really.
As well, it said I think that they will allow us to see where the AI are in their progression towards it as well. So we'll be able to see how they're progressing throughout the campaign and making comparison to where we are. And obviously we can take various actions on depending on what position they're in. So that's going to be quite good as well. So
but you can ignore it as well at your own peril, sort of thing. You can still build up your empire and try and go for world domination, but you're probably going to want to interact with that vortex in some form or another to avoid the chaos.
Yeah, they said that sandbox gameplay is sacrosanct to Total War. So what I think they meant with that whole thing was that they're going to allow you to just completely ignore it whatsoever, and that's fine. Like, let's say you're playing Lizardmen and the Skaven AI does whatever they want to do with the Vortex and they win the campaign. Like, they might get the victory screen, but you'll still be able to like continue on with your campaign, and it doesn't really affect anything. Like, you might miss out on a cinematic or something at the end of the trailer. I have no idea how they're going to do it, but you can still ignore it completely. It's not like the campaign will literally just end and prevent you from playing if you ignore it.
Would it make sense that if you went to destabilize the vortex, that loads of chaos demons would spawn, or that it wouldn't just instantly build up to that? Would you just
Yeah, it would make a lot of sense. That basically, like I said, the vortex sucks all the chaotic energy and magic out of the world, and so if it was destabilized, then demons would be able to pour through the warp again and into the world. What we don't know, obviously, is if the chaos demons are going to be in game 2. I personally think they're going to be the main selling point of game 3, but that doesn't mean that they couldn't have like a small sub-faction that's not playable, similar to what we thought Warriors of Chaos was going to be in the beginning, in terms of like at the end of the campaign when the vortex whatever is being done with it, you have to play a quest battle where there's like a sub-faction of Slaneshi demons or something to fight.
Sorry, yeah, my cat's just joined me.
Kitty.
Kitty.
Hey, Fluffy.
Hello. I'll see.
Oh, you
What's
its
name?
Late? This is Bella.
Hi, Bella.
She's very fluffy.
Is she going to move into your new house with you?
No, she's technically my parents' cat. My kitten, I guess she's a year-old now, so I guess she's a cat in her own right. Prim, she'll be moving out with me and Chloe when we move in June. So yeah.
Oh, has she killed any Skaven recently?
You know what, she hasn't, but as we're heading into summer now, there'll probably be a fair few little Skaven babies being dropped on the carpet every so often. So she's a good Warhammer player. You're definitely looking for a window that's open, aren't you?
So we've spoken a bit about the elves, but why don't we talk a bit about the lizardmen?
Yeah.
Indy.
Okay,
what are they all about?
What are they all about? They're Mesoamerican, Aztec, Mayan, Inca tech dinosaur lizard people that ride actual dinosaurs into battle, so they're pretty awesome. They are the oldest Warhammer race. They were the first race created by the old ones, and they basically are the greatest enemy of chaos. They were the first faction on the front lines dealing with them when the first chaotic incursion came into the world. That was a time when it was literally millions of demons just overrunning the planet, and they were so badass that they were actually able to fight them off and buy enough time for the elves to eventually create the Great Vortex and suck all the demons out of the world. But so
are the lizardmen good guys then?
Yeah, they're like neutral. They're it's not chaotic neutral. It's whatever.
Neutral good.
Yeah. They're neutral,
bad guys,
but they're basically good.
Yeah,
no, they're good. They're good.
They're like
they're anti-heroes,
anti-chaos race.
Yeah, I mean, like they'll go if you, for example, if like an Empire adventurer like went to Lustria, their hometown, and took like a plaque with old one scripture on it or something, the lizardmen would march across the world and burn down that city and like kill everyone inside. Because it's Warhammer and like they need that kind of like grim darkness to it.
I guess in terms of like if you've got your heroes, villains, and anti-heroes, I guess so. They're kind of the anti-heroes of the Warhammer world.
They're basically just like, leave them alone, and they're not going to do anything to you ever.
Yeah. But they'll help the world if chaos gets like
absolutely. They're a big enemy of chaos. So if chaos is there, they're a big enemy of Skaven as well. So they're definitely like in terms of Warhammer lore, they're much more on the good side than the bad side.
And they can't be corrupted by chaos, can they? Or can they?
No, not really.
Oh,
you got big floating toads. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's the slam.
Yeah,
I think awesome. That's one of the kind of confirmed legendary lords, Mazdamundi.
Yep.
And I think they showed him in the trailer just on his floating podium. But I think he's also got is it a Stegodon mount? I believe.
Yeah, he has a Stegodon mount named Zlak, so it's basically a gigantic Triceratops that he rides into battle, which is going to be a super awesome.
I love the slip up they did with Turin. Is it Turin, the brother of the other High Elves Lord, legendary?
Teclis is the Archmage, and then Tyrion we didn't see, but he's going to be their faction leader.
He's a twin brother, isn't he? He's like the melee fighter.
Brothers.
Yeah, melee combat fighter. Isn't he more of a
mage and the warrior?
Yeah. Do you think you're playing it safe with Warhammer 1 with the factions? Because you said that before, Indy, at the beginning. Do you think they're playing it safe with those factions, the greenskins and Empire, and then they're going out for it now and thinking, right, okay.
A little bit. I mean, that's definitely a part of it. I mean, a big part of it was geography, right? Because the old world was always going to be the main game one place that just is super logical. It'd be weird to start with lizardmen and high elves in game one. Okay. But yeah, no, I think to an extent that makes a lot of sense that like they know now, hey, game one was awesome. It sold really well. We can kind of expand our ideas and our plans for the trilogy, and we can go a little bit more crazy with this game.
They've constantly said all the way through that due to the success of it, they've been expanding their plans as they've been going. Basically, they've constantly been like updating and kind of developing. And I think we've seen a lot more potentially kind of feature-rich, additions, even in just the DLC that they've added into Warhammer 1 as they went, because they just had that, obviously the influx of income from the sales, and it allowed them to do more as they've gone on and try out new things.
And
I think it did surprise them more. Yeah.
What races are left
that we haven't talked about?
Tomb King. No, sorry, just in terms of like that won't be in the game. Apart, like Tomb Kings. Apart from
16,
is that the final race?
It's 16 major Warhammer Fantasy Battle races. So what we have left is Tomb Kings. We have the Chaos Dwarfs. We have the Ogre Kingdoms, and we have the Demons of Chaos. So once all those are, I don't think I'm missing. No, I don't think I'm missing anything. So once those are added, then we have all the major races, and the only thing that can get added are obviously the Lord packs, which I'm assuming we'll get plenty of, and then we'll get the. Well, I'm hoping we're gonna get minor faction packs at some point as well. So Kislev, Stalia Talea, Dogs of War, some of the minor factions that aren't like huge players in the lore, but are still important to Warhammer Fantasy.
So with Warhammer 3. Are they going to? Do you reckon they'll hold the remaining kind of the chaotic factions back until the third?
That's kind of the weird thing, right? Because we don't know if they're going to do a bunch of DLC for Game 2 in terms of like faction packs. So there's two things they could do. The Russian data mining whole thing that was released like a long time ago before even Game 1 came out. It said there was going to be a Realm of Chaos Game 3. So it would be like faction specific for all the Chaos factions. So one for Slash, one for Nurgle, one for Tzeentch, one for Khorne, and those would be separated. But they could just decide to add like Ogre Kingdoms, Chaos Dwarfs, and Demons of Chaos in Game 3 and not split up the factions. So we don't know yet. As soon as we get like 1 or 2 faction packs in Game 2, we're gonna know what they're
planning. Where they're going.
Yeah. Because obviously they're not gonna put like Chaos Demons headlining in Game 2 or like do a DLC pack of Demons, because then they can't sell Game 3. They need to be able to sell Game 3, and I think that doing only Chaos in Game 3 makes it harder to sell.
Do you think Tomb Kings are too big for a DLC pack?
I'm a little nervous about like the DLC races in general, because at least with what Beastmen were different because they were the first DLC pack, so they were kind of
Wood Elves.
But it was definitely lower quality than what they did with like Wood Elves and stuff.
Well, is a Wood Elves good enough or big enough to be a DLC, or should they have been a main faction from the start? You know,
I think they did the Wood Elves DLC really well. Like they were barely missing anything.
So you could do a Tomb Kings like that, could you really?
If they want to continue with that level of quality, absolutely they could do Tomb Kings as DLC.
Yeah.
If they do it like the Beastmen, I'm be mad because that means that like 3 or 4 like pretty important units are going to come out. Which if you don't know the lore, it's not as big a deal. But then you like Google what you're missing, you're like, Jesus, why wasn't a Gorgon in the Beastmen pack?
I think they struggle with Beastmen in terms of the skeleton animation. I think they realised it's quite a big task for them with Beastmen.
Maybe it would have been better to start with like Wood Elves because it's not like I don't know if it's not as insane.
Well, it's more humanoid,
aren't
they?
Yeah,
more humanoid, aren't they?
They've probably got a lot of that already, but.
I think it was more like testing the waters and they didn't realize like, oh, wow, this DLC is selling really effing well. Let's continue doing this and then we can actually make the quality better. Yeah. Because it was the first one.
Yeah. I was just saying, actually, I think from what you've said on the articles and the developer sessions as well, I think they're really trying to focus on the narrative now, aren't they, of this game? You know, this is more so they're trying to really get behind the story and drive the story forward with this game more so than probably the first one. I don't know if they're trying to like go down a bit of a down like a paradox route of making it more of a narrative sort of campaign, you know, making, you know, more of a role play. I don't know.
They've added in, I mean, even like Attila and Age of Charlemagne was like, I think for me, it was like the start of this all because you had those little story events and things like that would pop up, and we've seen that get more and more frequent in Warhammer. I mean, like Grombrindal's got a thing that pops up every so often to choose his next kind of ancestor that he channels, which greatly affects the direction you can go out with him. You've got that with Bretonnia, with lots of things like that early orc incursion bit is quite interesting to see, like events like I'd actually love to see more of those events just dynamically randomly popping up throughout your campaign, because you can be like, oh, I'm going to go over here, and then something happens and you're like, oh, I can't, I've got to turn around because my heartlands are under attack because of this event that's popped up for the next 20 turns or something. I mean, you wouldn't want it happening too much, but I quite like the direction they're going with these events and crafting more role play for your characters and things like that.
I think they're constantly trying to make sure they're improving the end game. With any strategy game like this, it's always a problem into the end game. Yeah. Because it can get to become a steamroll experience, can't it, for a player? And I think that's what they're trying to constantly.
They've got that early game locked down quite well, and
they've always. This vortex could be.
They always announce what the end game is quite well. I think like it was the the Warriors of Chaos invading and storming through in Warhammer, and I think you'd start getting into the mid game, and then you'd hit that steamroll point, and then it's just like you really need something to smash you a lot harder to put you back in check. I think
that's why Bretonnia had a good playstyle, because you're almost meant to play defensively.
Yeah.
And more kind of confederate the other Bretonnian factions before trying to expand. So whenever I've tried playing Bretonnia, I can't really expand too much, which it's kind of nice in a way, but
yeah, and you go off on little raids.
It's different from a usual. Yeah, it's different from a usual playthrough.
It was definitely different than a normal Total War campaign, which I appreciated. I felt like it was a little arbitrary though. Like you just kind of sit around and wait until you have the diplomatic bonuses from those texts that you research, and then all of a sudden, like they love you and want to confederate. It was just like I appreciated the direction it went. I didn't think that ultimately, in terms of like gameplay, it was the most interesting mechanic, because it's literally like, oh, I'm gonna research Leon tech, and then suddenly Leon loves me. Like, okay, like, cool.
It maybe would have worked a bit better if they then had like an event chain that you'd have to go through.
Prerequisites to get it,
that would then build it up further, or at least like a battle where, I don't know, you ride to Leones's aid or something like that, and you have a little mini kind of quest battle sort of thing along with their armies. That I think that maybe would have joined it up a little bit neater, and as you say, to make it not feel as instant. Oh, research this. Oh, boom, friends. You can't research your friends, guys. You can't research your friends.
Do you think they would like trying new things out in the Bretonnian campaign to sort of push forward into Warhammer 2 a little bit? Maybe, I don't know, certain things they were trying out. I don't know, but seemed to be, as you say, it seemed to be not a completely bit of fairly different feel to it, didn't it? That Bretonnian campaign.
Shout, it's almost why not? Pretty much, as long as it doesn't, as long as it's not detrimental to the gameplay experience, why not try out, something by just throwing it in there.
I definitely feel that chivalry mechanic will be very, very influential on the vortex mechanic and how it builds it up and you start going through those stages. I think that could definitely see that. But he said here as well, these cast of rituals. So what's that, Indy? Where he said you said you get a series of rituals and you'll be able to cast them. Is that something you'll get as in terms of, you think, against the vortex or something? What does that mean?
Was that from a interview? Like,
he says that. He says here, part of the stopping them from getting there might be to go and beat them up, but you also get a series of rituals that you need to cast that will also feed the narrative of your individual race. So you go up these series of rituals and progression. Maybe then, yeah.
You've got to like channel your mages for like 20 turns of research, as it were, almost, or something like that. And
there's a bunch of ways they could implement something like that. I'm not sure specifically what they're referring to there. It's not really like, I mean, it's I guess based on Warhammer lore, but there's no like specific thing that I could think of that would. I don't know. We'll just see how they do that in gameplay terms. I'm not sure.
He said, you can cast them, so maybe, and each race has a specific ritual, so well, that'd be interesting.
I mean, I'm sure they'll all have their own like ways of beating the campaign and getting to the last stage of that vortex mechanic. What those are, I'm not really sure. Again, like we said, like the High Elves are going to want to maintain that vortex and make sure that it's still working good. Same with the Lizardmen, but they'll have very different gameplay options, I would think, to make sure that they maintain it.
And bonuses, I suppose, as well from it all, won't it? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think as well, I was just thinking when you mentioned there with the race specific, obviously Skaven. I can see it now with Skaven. It'd be exactly like it was with Chaos in terms of like they'll do a big sort of relaunch of it with Skaven about a month or so before the games comes out, and they'll do a big push with Skaven, won't they? And that's be the way they'll do it. I'm sure of it now.
Yeah,
they'll play.
I'd compare it with how they did the vampire accounts, because remember they did like the reveal with the greenskins was, I don't remember. I'm gonna get the dates wrong, but let's say it was in like September, and then they didn't talk about vampire counts at all. Didn't release the trailer
they
until
held
like
back
3 or 4 months later. Yeah, that took a super long time. So I'm sure that's what they're gonna do with Skaven. It's just a marketing tactic. Like you want if they showed Skaven in their fullest right now, hype is gonna die down. But if you do it a month before release, like that's when everyone's gonna be like freaking out. Like, this is dope.
If that's how they're gonna do it, I hope they do another because they did a UK event for like the vampire kind of reveal, and they had this historical reenactment village basically. It was just after this attack of like vampires, so there were people there with like bleeding necks and stuff, and these like frightened villagers, and then you had some like Empire guardsmen in there and stuff, and it was really cool.
Did you go to that?
Yeah, me and Warrior were at that. And
I love it.
They had like a banquet set out in the evening, and they had like this guy dressed up as Manfred, and then like a Red Duke character charging in on horses and do this fighting scene with like Empire troops, and like they were rolling over tables and everything. It was great. So I hope they do some like Skaven-esque type thing like that, because that'd be insane.
Could we don't have a sponsor yet, do we? But could we just take an ad break? I just need to pop to the washroom.
That's fine. Yeah,
we'll
be right back after these messages.
Yeah, I can't get my chair out. Okay. I'll be back in like 2 to 5 minutes.
4 days.
Is that banana? And we're back from that sponsor break. Rambler, how was the poop?
Break.
It's good. As mentioned previously, it was started off promising, but an unsatisfying end. Probably going to have to go for round 2 later on today. And had to make use of the preparation H wipes.
The Warcast is now looking for a toilet roll sponsor. Please apply down in the description below.
Please apply.
But anyway,
tell you what though, if you don't use baby wipes when wiping, do it. It's great. Well, not even baby wipes, just any kind of wet, like those, the wet wipes.
Yeah, the value wipes.
Value wipes, whatever. Yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's talk briefly about which race we'd each like to play first.
Cool.
Indy, start us off.
All right, so High Elves are my favorite race in Warhammer Fantasy Battle, although I have honestly 3 of my 4 top favorite races are going to be in game 2, so it's like hard for me to do it anyway. But like High Elves are probably my favorite faction, but I'm probably going to play Lizardmen first because I think they're going to be the biggest departure from the Skaven are going to be the biggest departure from previous Total Wars, because their faction is just weird as hell. They've got so many crazy like magical engines and weird World War One tech that you just like would not expect to see in a world like this whatsoever.
What's the Skaven? What's the Skaven?
I think that's something made up by the folks over in Middenheim.
Yeah, rats of unusual size don't exist. That's a preposterous idea. What are you talking about? But I think I'm gonna play Lizardmen first because seeing a dinosaur, like seeing a Carnosaur rip through enemy formations, is gonna be the most satisfying thing ever. Amazing. I can't wait.
Yeah,
I think the joke of it is actually when that April Fool's dinosaur turtle war was the case, they've actually kind of brought that to fruition now.
Yeah, it's finally come full circle.
Yeah.
So yeah, what about you, Warrior? Who do you want to play as?
Well, I was, to be honest with you, because obviously I'm not too sure. I'm learning as I go with Warhammer. You know, that's the beauty of it. But for me, having played Call of Warhammer and done some multiplayer battles on that, some custom battles, I'm going to go for the High Elves because I think they look fantastic and I love the style of play they've got. They seem to be very defensive in sort of some of the uses they've got. They've heavily armored units. They've great shields they've got in some aspects. So I think for me, they would suit my playstyle well, and it looked terrific. So yeah, I'm going to go for the High Elves probably.
Rambler?
What races are in the game again?
Yeah,
we'll be back after this word from our sponsors.
I know. I like the look of all three. So all the three announced ones look really appealing.
Come on, dude, you got this.
I don't like picking things. So we've had. I'm looking forward to playing all three. I'll probably definitely do like a lot of streaming on all three campaigns. I might start off with High Elves to start off with as well, because like what Warrior said, I just think the units look amazing. I just love marching elves in the kind of the tight formations and the kind of the shields and the armor. Looks awesome.
I love that formation. I love the formation they did in the trailer when they had them all sort of like
formation.
Yeah, because sort of semicircle.
Shield wall.
Yeah, it's lovely. I thought it was quality. I thought, yes, that suits me to the ground.
So well-disciplined armies.
Nice.
Kind of, yeah. But I want to play all. I want to play all of them.
I mean, I want to play as all of them as well. But I think I'm gonna have to go with Skaven just because I want my rat ogres. I want my rattling gunners. You know, there's as you said, like playing Vermintide as well over the last year that it's been out has just renewed my love for all things Skaven that totally exist.
Have you guys seen a Doom Wheel before?
Huh?
Have you seen a Doom Wheel?
Yes.
Dude,
it's just everything crazy, but in a weird ratty way it makes sense. It's just
they got flamethrowers.
They have the weirdest stuff. Yeah, they're just crazy, and I just love that they'll be so hopefully unpredictable with just their general style.
I think sort of daft. What's that steampunk sort of way they got the two? Sort of, don't know. They seem to be.
Yeah. There's
like World War One tech, like just kind of so unreliable and so ridiculous. Like a big thing in tabletop and lore about them is that all their stuff just malfunctions all the time. Yeah. But when it malfunctions, it like takes like tons of people down with them as well. So they'll like send like a Doom Wheel like spinning into like an enemy formation and it'll like blow up instantly, but it'll kill like a bunch of lizardmen or something. It's just everything they do about it is just completely over the top and ridiculous.
I'm just also looking forward to the voice acting because I imagine it's going to be the same craziness that the goblins were for like the greenskins. So if it's anything like that for the Ratmen, it's going to be crazy. But yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. I think most. Just jump in with a crazy Skaven.
No love for the Dark Elves, I guess.
They look cool. There's something cool about like black and gold armor and Malekith.
Yeah.
And...
Malekith Guardi.
Yeah. No, Malekith will play him. It's fine. It's fine.
No.
Job done.
Yeah.
What's next on the list, Warrior?
Units. What units particularly we're looking to play as? Looking forward to.
I don't really know. So
I'll start by dinosaurs.
I can help you out. So High Elves have phoenixes. They have dragons. They're the biggest dragon faction in Warhammer.
Dragons.
Okay, dragons.
Yeah, Star Dragons are going to be like the best flying unit in Warhammer Fantasy.
They've got like a bolt thrower artillery thing, haven't they?
Yeah.
Like really big kind of ballista style.
Yeah, they've even got a flying chariot that shoots bolts. That's pulled by eagles. So that's pretty dope. They've got
Indy,
a lot.
Indy, what was that? What was that unit that the High Elves had in the trailer? The spear units. What were they?
they're just basic.
Those are just high elf spears. They're literally called high elf spears.
Oh, right,
high elf spears, yeah.
So they're not that elite units then.
No, that's like the basic like.
Oh right, bloody hell, they look pretty good as well. So what's their elite infantry unit then they've got?
Elite infantry, Phoenix Guard. They're like much more ornate, like halberd.
Sounds like Fountain Guard. Sounds like
actually very similar. Yeah,
really.
Very similar
okay.
Yeah. And in fact, they actually don't talk either. So that's probably literally ripped straight from Tolkien's universe. Yeah.
Somewhere. Yeah.
There's so many. I think just. Carnosaur. It's just dinosaurs. I just want to see the dinos.
It's so hard to argue against that. Yeah. It's so hard to argue with a T-Rex, man.
I'm trying to remember.
Can you imagine smashing through a line with that Carnosaur?
Yeah. I'm trying to remember what when me and Moosey went through Lizardmen, we were talking about some of the units that we thought they may not add in just because they'd be too expensive to do for the models and stuff. And there were. I can't try to remember. It began with like I don't know, was it a Troglodon or something like that, right?
Oh yeah, Troglodon is like it's like a Allosaurus, but it's poisonous.
Yeah.
So like kind of a cross. No, it's like a Spinosaurus Allosaurus mixed with like poison. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen the ejectory? Because obviously you did in your line, but they said that quite a few of them were there in the design already, weren't they? In the character models that they've been doing. So the Carnosaur's definitely there. There's a Triceratops one there. They got Pterodactyl they've got as well, I think. So kind of, isn't it?
Yeah, you've got like them as like
flying.
They'll be like the hawks for like wood elves, I'd imagine, like fast, kind of skirmish troops. There's a missile one, and there's like they're like raptor ones or something like that, which come down there like melee ones. Well.
Riperdactyls.
Riperdactyls, that's
and
the one,
then they have like an Ankylosaurus one called a Bastillodon, which they put like big artillery, like the Luminarch of Hysh on the top of, which just shoots beams of energy.
Yeah.
Like they've got so much cool stuff,
is that the one which shoots out snakes?
There's the Ark of Sotek. So the one we saw, I think, in the trailer was there's one that it's the Engine of the Gods that no, hold up. There are three of them. It's Engine of the Gods, it's Ark of Sotek, and then it's Solar Engine. Solar Engine is like Luminarch. It shoots like a beam of energy.
Yeah.
Ark of Sotek like drops like snakes around everywhere, like Jungle Swarm. And then the Engine of the Gods is like a pulse that would kind of be like the what is the vortex for Lore of Shadow?
Pit of Shades.
Pit of Shades, yeah. It'll be like that kind of, in that it'll like be in the middle of the line, like kind of pulse outwards, and then like back in.
Yeah.
So
like an AoE.
If the gloves were off for Warhammer 1, what the hell is going to happen now? Because the gloves are already off.
Boots are off.
This is like the boots are off now.
Yeah, it's way.
Then the pants are off.
Crazier
The pants are off for game 3.
Yeah. It's all out then.
Dicks out, boys.
Dicks out, yeah. Flipping heck.
So what about you, Indy? What unit are you most excited to see and to play with?
It's a little. I'm gonna name one for each faction because I can't narrow it down. But it'll be Dragon Princes of Calidor for High Elves, which are just like really powerful cavalry. Like they're like Blood Knights, but for the High Elves. They're just gonna look so cool. Like their model is actually amazing.
They sound great at High Elves.
And then for the Dark Elves, again, because I love heavy cavalry, it's probably it's either the Witch Elves or it's the Cold One Knights. Cold One Knights, they ride raptors into battle, which is dope in and of itself. Like there's so many dinosaurs, man. It's definitely Carnosaur, like no, hands down, like no question. And then for Skaven, that one's interesting. They have a monster called the Hell Pit Abomination, which can die and then resurrect. Like it can literally go down to 0 HP and then come back at full strength. Which if CA does that, I really want them to. That would be incredible. It's just like a gigantic like conglomeration of like Skaven parts that forms this massive like hulking monstrosity. Yeah, like it's really scary looking, but I would love to see that.
I'm already thinking of videos that I want to make, and I want to do one with the Jurassic Park theme, like "Welcome to Jurassic Park." Da 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 da. Just Carnosaurs everywhere.
The ideas are flowing.
Is it out yet? Yeah. I guess on that, when do we think it's going to come out? Because they've said 2017.
Let's go around the group.
Say a date. Rambler, go for it.
What?
There's 12 months. Pick one.
We've got
just a month.
We've got 8 left.
Go for it. Yeah, only 8 to choose from. Oh yeah.
October before the big Christmas rush.
Oh my god.
That's when I think as well. October.
Oh.
Good choice.
And I'll probably be doing YouTube. Well, that'll be my only source of income come September. So.
Check him out.
So no. I'll be busy.
Yeah, watch my ads.
Give me your money.
Patreon, please. Please. I think it's gonna come out November 10th.
Oh, that'd be great.
Well,
November's my birthday month.
I'm right. Dude, if I'm right about that, like I need to get something. I don't know.
Yeah,
what,
I need something.
CA just needs to invite me to their headquarters and give me like all games in history for free or something. I don't know.
Yeah. I hope to God. I'm saying
yeah, I know when you don't want it to be.
If you bring it out in October, particularly October the 14th or something, I'll be pissed because I'm going on holiday then for a week and a half.
Warrior's going on holiday. We can't release the game, boys. Yeah. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Delay it.
Release it then, October. Go for September. Push yourself. Thanks, mate.
Yeah. Well, it's all going to be it's a nice build up to Christmas anyway. It should be at least.
Oh yeah.
Plus, we were talking about it before while Rambler was having his poop. That they've also announced for this one. It's something that Indy made a very detailed like forum post about as well, and is obviously a vast part of the community that's wanted this feature added in, which was being able to play as the same race in co-op, because they've now said that each legendary lord will have its own separate start position, so you can co-op right from day one, right from launch, as the same faction as the separate legendary lords, which will be awesome.
Yeah. Just a quick one on that, very quickly. Didn't legendary lords begin on Warhammer 1 with the same start positions, but then they've actually, when new lords came out, they started to do different start positions? Is that correct?
Yeah. So when the game first came out, like Gelt and Franz, which they still do, both start in Reichland, but like the argument was, and what I made the forum post about was, one, it's dumb that you can't do same race co-op, because obviously that's the most logical thing. Like I don't want to do vampires and Empire together if you like know Warhammer lore. That doesn't make that much sense.
Yeah.
So like it's a lot more fun. Like if I'm playing with my buddy, we both want to play Lizardmen together and conquer the world that way, than like do Lizardmen Skaven, which makes no sense with the lore. Right. So like there was that, and then there was the just more replayability. Like if I want to do another Lizardmen campaign, like why do I want to start in the same start position? I could start halfway across the world, maybe in the Southlands. That's suddenly a completely different campaign, even though I'm playing with the same faction. So that's why I made that post about. I was like, this is going to be a big deal for playability. And again, I don't know if it was only. I'm sure it wasn't just my post, but like the
it was just you.
No, it was literally just me. No, but the fact that like people got behind that, because they were like, yeah, like that adds so much more replayability.
Yeah.
CA jumped on board, and I think it started with King and the Warlord. They were like, yeah, you'll be getting different start positions depending on what faction you play. So that was really good. I'm glad they made that decision.
They do listen to us, guys. They do listen to us.
Which free for all.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that we were talking about. We were like, why is free for all not in the game? Like, we don't have coding experience, but it can't be that hard.
Yeah, it's literally, as we said, turn locked teams off, and actually go back to Medieval 2 and Rome, where you chose your team when you joined the game lobby, the game you were joining or hosting or whatever, and you just choose between, if you want to play together, you both choose team 1. If you don't, you choose teams 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
For me, free for all has the potential to take multiplayer up a notch. It really does.
They need more modes. They need more multiplayer modes. We haven't. The last time we saw something different was Shogun 2, and they've never gone back to that. But we're not asking for big complex Avatar conquest stuff here.
I am.
Okay, Indy is, and obviously that would be great. That would be great, but on just a base level of another game mode, just turn off the team lock restrictions, free for all. King of the Hill, put a capture point, center of the map, put a ticking timer of points down for each player or each team of players, and you've got King of the Hill. Okay,
there's no balance issues.
It's all well and good of saying yes or no coding, but those surely aren't massive undertakings. So. CA, I'll give you £100 to, if you need the budget for.
That's all it would take.
For the free for all in King Hill. Real quick, see what I can give to you. Yeah, no,
unless you give me 5p, it'll do it. Bloody hell! I'll go onto Notepad and change it for you.
Warrior is going to code free for all. There we go. Job done.
Get your line of code in there.
But extra modes would be grand.
Quick one. No one's putting this out yet. I don't know if you guys know this, but I probably do. But I'm just making it as a big deal. Regional occupation is no longer the case in Warhammer 2.
It's gone.
You know that?
What do you mean?
It's gone. You can conquer anywhere in Warhammer 2.
Yeah.
It's gone.
They've gone back on that.
Thank God for
They've
that.
just not bothered. I mean, I asked my viewers what they thought about regional occupation, and it's changed a lot since launch. A lot of people that were against it at launch now said they like the limitation that it kind of imposed, that it allowed them to follow a more narrative campaign, or they were sort of saying, as an Empire player, they'd be like, oh, I'd never want to actually conquer Greenskin territory. I just want to go and raise and sack it. So I know that like quite a few do like it, but there's also, you know, a lot of people that just want to conquer everywhere. Which kind of begs the question, why don't they just make it an option that when you start the campaign, it's an extra checkbox where you go, you know, conquer everywhere or regional occupation, you know,
Notepad.
You have... Notepad again. Warrior will do it for 10p. Coding with Warrior. A Twitch stream sensation. But yeah, it kind of does beg the question, why, rather than basically essentially outsource it to modders to do, which we had at day one launch, they had it at the same time, just put it as an option when you start a campaign. You know, you can't change it mid-campaign, but, you know, when you start a campaign, choose to have it with regional occupation enabled or disabled, and go from there. But yeah.
It's off. It's gone. So I'm happy.
Mega campaign.
Oh, what's that? Oh, Christ, yes. No,
how's your knitting? Because there's a bit of stitching that needs doing.
Well, yeah, I'm surprised, actually, because I thought it'd be a thing that would be coming out further down the line, but it seems to be only a matter of weeks after launch, and we'll have it in open beta as well, won't we? Which is good.
I think they'll launch Warhammer 2, and then within a few days go, here's the open beta test for the mega campaign, and that'll run for a couple of weeks, and then they'll get the feedback, the testing, and the balancing from that, and then they'll release it. That's what they said in the interview. They're aiming, or their Q&A, they're aiming for weeks and not months. It's a feature they want to get out as soon as possible, and it'll be their first free content release, or just their first content release, whatever, and it will be free to all owners of Warhammer 1 and 2, because you'll need both games, because essentially they're taking the old world and the new world and stitching it together. Now, I don't know the full details of it. I don't think they've actually announced it as to whether they might... I think they did suggest they might have to sacrifice a few minor things. Correct. So there might be a few minor factions.
Factions, yes.
And I know some people are already worrying that, does this mean that Athel Loren will become a single city region? You know, rather than, you know, the four that are in there already. I hope they don't cut it down too much, because otherwise the point of stitching it together and then making it smaller with regions would just be defeat the point of it. You want this is the aim of this is to be insanely huge map, and it's pure sandbox as well. They said it won't be, you know, if you want the narrative, you play the old world campaign or you play the new world campaign. If you want it pure, you know, you can sandbox in each of those as well. But if you just want to go crazy with the sandbox, I imagine that will be 100% regional occupation, not enabled. You know, that will be just conquer everywhere.
Well, it says here as well, they've taken into account the fact that you're essentially combining two endgames, aren't you, into one campaign. You've got the Chaos Invasion endgame, and you've got the Vortex campaign endgame. So they're saying in this as well that the fact... What's up?
So Rambler's just moving his mic around a bit.
Oh, is it? It says here that it's apparently that the Chaos Invasion, if you're playing as the High Elves, the Chaos Invasion in the old world wouldn't affect the campaign with your High Elves Let's Play, you know, so they're taking that into account. They're not apparently giving all the details yet about this, but yeah, they've taken this all into consideration. So, which is a good point actually, because I didn't think about that. The two end games coming together, and obviously then the third Warhammer map that will come in as well and combine this mega one.
Yeah. I actually for a long time thought this was something they wouldn't do until all three games had come out and they just do it in one. True. But I guess it makes more sense to do it as they go.
That would have sucked if we had to wait till game 3. Because that was the selling point.
Yeah, I could kind of see it as a thing they do, though. I could kind of think they'll be like, oh, we'll do that properly at the end of the trilogy. Yeah, but I'm glad they're doing it now.
Yeah, I thought they'd put that off because it's too much coding, too much work for them, maybe. I thought it would have...
There would have been a big backlash for that, because a lot of people bought the game with that idea in mind, and they were connecting them all together.
That's what I think, I think they'd have gone mental if that had been the case,
Rambler, you look like you want to say something.
No.
Oh, okay. Sorry, the call out.
So free for all, please just give it a go. Because you tease on the trailer. Don't tease on the trailer for us.
Yeah, well, with all the armies in that clearing, like all going for each other.
Don't dangle the dick there and then don't give it to us. Come on, I want.
CA, don't dangle the dick is the message to take home from this.
And
surely it's just I don't know. It must be a pretty simple thing to do.
Yeah,
just to turn on teams.
And to be fair, they always seem to make it a bit of a big thing. It's really not. I think surely it's bloody is. We've had it in your games. You've had it. You've featured it in making games.
And I know they say that not a lot of people play multiplayer, but they would if you put this in.
Can you imagine YouTube videos on it? I think
Insane.
it'd be fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
Even
It's
a
so
one-man
good.
band game has teams in it. Like Ultimate Epic Battle Simulator, that you can select from like team 1 to 8. So if one guy can do it,
Just
CA with
re-implement the
500
physical selection of team picking rather than have, sides basically.
Attack,
Just have it
yeah.
as a column and you choose. Yeah, I think they just change the interface up a bit.
Yeah,
and
well, all it would be
reveal
is a
that
code
team.
change and a UI change, wouldn't it? Surely, and then you're in. Cause
Yeah, just separate it.
It's Indy said, didn't you, when we were offline before? It's 4 deployment zones, isn't it? And then you just deploy and go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 4 teams, 4
Come on.
deployment zones. There we go.
Because even if we didn't have the deployment zones, we've got the map tools now. People could make the extra deployment zones. So just job done. So let Warrior come up for an afternoon at the studio. He'll get his notepad
Let him
out
code it.
and he'll do it.
Literally, a notepad.
What
What's
we
it?
got?
Underscore. What is it? What do you say?
Open
underscore
string
team
value
underscore on.
team all teams the same underscore false.
Off.
Yeah, or just true or false values normally, or zeros
Yeah.
and ones, mate.
And then file save.
Yeah,
Job
file
done.
save. Make sure you put it read only so that it can't be overwritten,
Yeah.
and then you're done.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Job done.
Yes.
Put it in the app data, creative assembly,
Okay.
Warhammer scripts, done.
Booming. Lovely.
I wish
Over
it.
there.
I'm sure there's so many CA devs like facepalming, going like, I wish it was that easy.
I'm sure, but
But if you
Not
want
that
someone to
hard.
come up and do that for an afternoon, Warrior's your man.
yeah, for free.
Have we got anything else left on the list?
I think for the list, no. In terms of Warhammer 2, we're going to talk about any other games we're looking forward to. Or is that it then? Is that we're cutting?
Well, just a quick, I guess, kind of summary of what we're all looking forward to briefly, what we're all up to.
I know what I was looking forward to.
Rambler, what are you looking forward to?
Ultimate Epic Battle Simulator.
Oh yeah, that's good. That's good fun.
It does look like it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, like I went down to the developer's house last Saturday. He lives like pretty much in this
Really
like
convenient, isn't it?
big lake area. So he went out on his canoe, caught some fresh crab, hung out with his brother's
Cash.
Australian shepherd called Pippin. Played the
love
Ultimate
Aussies.
Epic Battle Simulator. Oh, what? Sorry.
Yeah. Then had a massive 50,000 man battle after that.
Yeah.
After you, yeah. As you do.
No lag.
No
So,
lag. Come on. Listen.
Yeah, no, it's that I'm looking forward to, of course. I'm also looking forward to playing more Mass Effect Andromeda. I haven't actually had time to play it.
Yeah,
a lot.
I've
So
only
that-
played
that-
an hour
that-
of that so far. But I
I'm
really
just
liked
playing
it.
in my off time. I'm not going to bother like recording it because it's just something I like to enjoy by myself. Like other things that I don't record.
Please never do.
At the moment, I'm still in Canada.
I saw that, Warrior.
See that wench?
What happened?
She passed me the cup of tea. Tea, thank you. And put the V's up at me. And to you
Oh.
guys. The thousands.
Hi,
out there.
Gemma.
Um,
Johnny Beans.
so
Yeah,
I'm in,
Hey.
in Vancouver at the minute. I'll probably be moving to the other side of Canada later this year. So I'll be moving like several thousand miles.
I see you
In order to stay in Canada, I need to pretty much spend my life savings to go back into education and get some more post-secondary to get myself extra points on the immigration forms and stuff. So that's me, just trying to
One-
save as much money as possible. So expect
one
lots
good
of massive
thing-
battles.
One good thing with your move, though, Rambler, your time zones will be a bit better, won't they?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'll only be
5
3
hours?
hours,
Or 3
Three.
hours?
3 hours behind you. I'll be
Oh,
in
nice.
Atlantic Standard Time.
Oh, brilliant.
Oh, so that's
So-
what you...
Atlanta.
Let's check. Let's time what it is now.
I think it's 5. I think you're 4 or 5 hours away.
Because
If,
it's
if
not
that's
the same-
EST.
Yeah, because it's not the same it's not
So-
the same timeline as New York, is it?
Atlantic Standard Time at the minute is 20 to 6.
4 hours then. 20
Yeah.
to 6?
Well, it depends
I'm-
what time.
5.
Oh,
where,
yeah.
Like where GMT
Oh.
is, because GMT and BST they change a little bit depending on the year.
Good.
So sometimes it's
So-
4 hours, sometimes it's 5 hours.
Hmm.
So, but hopefully it will make it a bit easier to do
Yeah,
collaborations and stuff.
Awesome. That's great news, dude.
Halifax, yeah.
And where I can only work part time with a student visa, I'll probably do most of those hours on YouTube. So I'll be
Warhammer
doing
2.
like
Warhammer
Yeah.
2. Great timing, isn't it? Really?
Yeah.
When are you going to Halifax?
It'll probably be. I don't know. I haven't got into the college yet. I'm waiting to hear. Probably August.
Oh my god, the timing
September.
is fruitful.
Perfect.
The timing is fruitful here. This is great.
What are you up to, Indy, and what are you looking forward to? It's the year, besides all the Total War bits.
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing the YouTube thing full time for right now. It's going relatively well. I mean, I'm not gonna become a rich boy anytime soon. Won't be driving through my neighborhood with a Ferrari or Lamborghini anytime soon. But
in my Lamborghini, in my Lamborghini.
No, but I'm actually very happy that I took this path, at least for to at least try it out and see if I could make it work full time. And it's been working okay so far.
Welcome to the club.
I mean, because I started a year ago and it's been sustaining me from that point. So just the fact that I've done that, like, I can say I don't know if I'd call this my dream, but it's like it's something that I enjoy doing, and the fact that I get to make money off of it is pretty cool. So like I'm grateful for that opportunity, and if it doesn't work out long term, I'll at least say that I at least pursued it and did what I wanted to do.
You gave it a go.
Yeah. And then just in terms of what games Dawn of War 3, like I'll be playing some of that. I'm looking forward to hopefully there's going to be a new beta pretty soon here. I don't know. We'll see. But that might be fun to play. And there's guaranteed there's going to be a little bit of hate behind that, just because it's a very polarizing game right now. Some people that don't like the art style and the gameplay of what I've seen so far. But
found with my experience so far, if I actually pretend that, and it's obviously like sacrilege to say, but if I pretend that Dawn of War 2 and 1 didn't happen, it's actually Dawn of War 3 on its own is a really good game. And while I don't like some of the changes to things like cover, when I just think of it as its own thing, I think it's actually really well done. I quite enjoy the multiplayer mode that they've got in. It's a shame it's the only one at launch, but when I just think of it on its own, it works and it's good fun. And then I remember that Dawn of War 2 and 1 were a thing, and then I'm slightly disappointed. But I think it will be good. I think it will be good.
It looks like a pure RTS. Like high, like macro is going to be pretty important, and micromanagement going to be very important because it's so killy. Like that game looks like everything dies so fast.
Yeah.
That it's going to be like your micro just has to be on point all the time. So yeah, I mean, I'll be interested to try it out. I'll be interested to play it. And then if it's received well on the channel, hopefully it will be, then I'll be able to create some content for that. And then obviously historical Total War, which won't be for a while, but I'm still looking forward to it. A Victorian era one, I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I think people are weird who want World War One. I don't think that would work in a Total War game whatsoever. But yeah, there are a lot of historical time periods that I think would be great for a historical Total War. And then obviously Total War Warhammer 2. Like my channel has grown a lot recently because of Warhammer stuff, and so I'm definitely gonna stick with that for now, for sure.
Awesome. Warrior, what are you doing?
Well, I'm coming back, and that's a good thing. I'm coming back. I've been away, haven't I, for a few weeks. It's been weird, actually. My enthusiasm, my drive went for a bit this beginning of this year. I think partly to do with Edward and difficulties I had at home with him. But touch wood, he's actually sleeping through now.
Nice.
He's actually sleeping through. He's getting good. Like he won't wake up now at all. I'm not worried about it, and I'm more alert at work. I'm more alert here now with YouTube and getting better sleep. So that's helping a lot. I was so tired, and I got home and I just couldn't be bothered, to make any videos, and I just had no drive, and I got into a sort of a rut of just not making videos, and I actually started to think, well, actually, I'm quite enjoying it, getting home, doing nothing, relaxing. But then suddenly, I started to miss it, and I thought, you know what, I need to come back now. I need to get myself back into gear. And then with this coming out with Warhammer 2, the passions, the drives come back a lot more now. So that's it's good, and I'm not going anywhere this time. I'm staying. I'm going to push through it. The grind's there. I mean, it is more of a grind for me. Obviously, you have to go home.
I'm sure Indy will
home
know as well. But like, for me, doing it full time as well for several years now, finding that balance between kind of stopping and being able to just relax and chill is quite hard.
You're always thinking about it.
Yeah, you're always thinking about it, and especially when it's something that, in a way, I still consider very much just a strong passion of mine and a hobby almost. It's almost coincidental that it's my job through, it's what I do every day. But I love it so much, and I can't think I'd ever be this enthusiastic about, working at a shop or something like that.
No,
and
you
it's,
won't. Yeah, exactly.
But it is, I've got to admit, it is so hard to switch off and to give yourself that time. So I think, you know, it's great to, you know, you've had that time and that you've refreshed, you've recharged, and now you're tack back.
Yeah, and it's going to be more of a grind for me. You know, obviously, I'd love to be doing it full time again, but I've got to just push through it. And the fact I'm getting more sleep now, the fact I'm not getting these broken sleeps anymore, touch wood, as I say, but I think that's helping me massively now. So yeah,
I kind of encountered the same thing as you, but then I had different kind of personal stuff going on.
Yeah.
But I think, I don't know. I don't have kids, so I don't really have that problem. But I just had my own kind of stress and anxiety and depression. This year has been pretty shit in general. So that has been a constant struggle. And like I'm with you. When I get home, I can't be like, sometimes I just can't be bothered. So, but
I'm starting to enjoy that. You see, yeah.
I'm starting to enjoy a lot more. I think live streaming is helping as well. I enjoy definitely doing live streaming, but then I'm just doing a lot of stuff in my life to try and make sure I have to make sure I'm happier, pretty much.
Yeah.
So
I think a key thing with being like YouTube or Twitch, you've got to want to do it, and you've got to enjoy doing it, because it does then just feel like a burden and a slog, and then your content suffers, because especially if you're on Twitch, you know, it's your face that's there, you know, in the stream, and if you're not engaged and wanting to be there,
they're gonna be bored.
They're gonna know, and they'll pick up on it. Same with the video. If it's not something you really wanted to be there for creating, it's like, you know, don't bother with that. You know, don't worry about getting the early access and the first out with that video. Come back to it when you enjoy it, and that's so important.
Yeah. Just a quick one. You go.
You go.
I was just gonna say that the game I'm looking forward to this year, besides Warhammer 2. Yeah. I'm gonna have to buy a console for this one. Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Thank you. Good
5-star.
Just you just know before he's even out, it's gonna be incredible. I just know it's gonna be stunning. Oh god, one of the best games I've ever played. I just love it. It's just incredible.
It would come out on PC.
Yeah, that's the only problem. But yeah, Red Dead Redemption 2 is my one.
Nice. What were you gonna say, Rambler?
Actually, I don't know. So like, whenever I talk about mental health with people, they always get kind of awkward. But I found that like, if you're suffering with any kind of anxiety, depression, stress, make sure to reach out and talk to someone.
Yeah,
definitely.
That's it. It's helped me buckets. Although where I'm a contractor, I don't get kind of any kind of medical health benefits. I've had to pay for it out of my own pocket. I think it's done wonders just to I guess talk and get help. So if you're struggling, make sure to do something about it.
Talk about it.
Yeah.
I'm just looking forward to moving into my own place.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So I actually got sent a picture today, because on the house plans they do include a little shed. And our garden.
Can you?
Huh?
Can you buy the shed with the house?
No, it comes with it. We get it turfed and everything. Which they were saying is quite odd for new builds to come with like turfed grass and sheds and stuff. But it was apparently like it's just part of the package they do. But our shed was like literally sitting in the middle of the garden on their design plans, and we're like, could we put it against the back fence wall, because that would that wouldn't like take up any space then? And they were like, yeah, sure. And they literally sent me a picture today, and they were like, the foundation's been set. It's against the back of the fence, so yeah, it's coming along well.
In the middle of the bloody garden.
Yeah, they said often the builders will just move it and put it in the right place anyway, because they're like,
that's stupid.
But it's all coming along really well. We still don't have like a set date for when we'll be moving in, but it should be early June now. So I'm super hyped for that. I mean, I have permission to use the second bedroom as my office for a year or so until the probably lion cubs appear.
Then it'll be the shed.
Then I'll be in the shed, but I won't be that first shed, because I'll literally be able to stand up in it like this, and that's it. There's not much room in it.
I do it.
Yeah. I'm gonna buy one of those like build your own kind of office studio shed things in the back garden. that's still classified as a shed, so that I don't have to get planning permission.
Don't have kids. Just don't have kids.
But yeah, no, I'm sure it won't be too long before there's lion cubs. To be fair,
don't seriously,
mate, you're gonna have to have a word with Bobcat. She's dead set on it, mate. I don't think I've got any choice. To be fair, I'll just be summoned one day and it'll be like,
the snip now.
It's time to make cubs, and that's it. That's how it works.
Commander.
But yeah, so that's in June. I'm, as I said, looking forward to Dawn of War 3. I'm looking forward. I don't think it's going to come out this year, but I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing and hearing more about Mount and Blade Bannerlord.
God, yeah.
That's in the same for me, the same vein as the next historical Total War. I'm sure it'll be worth the wait. I've just got to wait a little bit longer. But I mean, all
Kingdom Come Deliverance as well.
Yeah, Kingdom Come Deliverance. I haven't actually gone back to that for a while now, so I'm looking forward to when they do their next kind of major update to that. But
I want to see Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh yeah, God yeah.
CD Projekt Red. Like that had one of the best trailers I've ever seen. Of course, it showed no gameplay whatsoever, but I really want to see some gameplay for that.
Good shout, yeah.
But that's me. What we're all up to.
But we're all back now. That's the main thing. Well, I'm back and. We're back, and Warhammer 2 is just around the corner.
Yeah,
September.
Can it just come out tomorrow, dude? Like seriously.
It's September/October tomorrow.
Just a quick one.
Please don't come out in August because that's going to mess my.
Or October.
August, yeah.
So September basically is the only Warcast approved release window.
I would prefer November.
Or November.
Yeah, good shot for Indy November. But a good one actually, because we've seen it before. Warhammer 1 pushed back the date of release. I wonder if they'll do it again.
Yeah, that's true.
It could happen.
Delayed a little bit.
Yeah. They may push it back.
I think it's just channel of the month now.
Yes.
And
then,
say goodbye.
Yeah.
I haven't actually watched him much, so I'll leave it to you.
He released a really good April Fools.
He did.
Yeah, that was a
video.
That is the one video of his I've seen. The kind of the fight,
it was really good.
Star Trek fight.
Go check it out. It's an exclusive. It's an exclusive first gameplay look at Warhammer 2. It's kroq-gar, I believe, isn't it?
And General of the Empire.
Yeah, fighting a General of the Empire.
This guy, he's called Turin.
Yeah,
Turin. Yeah. I recommend him to Rambler and Lionheart because, from my side, I know Indy will sort of alleviate, sort of what's the word I'm looking for? Add on to this. There we go. In terms of, he's very good in his knowledge, his tactical awareness, his tactical knowledge is excellent, and he's also produces, in my opinion, how he comes across in his videos, very good, very just very fluent in how he presents his videos and how he commentates on them. I think he's excellent. You've worked with him, haven't you, before, Indy? In some videos?
we've done some games together. We haven't commentated together, but we got Tony together and played some games. But the thing that I think differentiates him from pretty much anyone I've seen make content is like he is extremely fluent and able, like articulate when he's playing the game. Like he's in the middle of like microing all his troops and like flanking and making sure that he's kiting appropriately and doing all this stuff, and like everything that he says is on point. There's no stuttering, there's no mumbling. Exactly. It's ridiculous. Like that is the most impressive thing about his channel to me, the fact that he is so articulate when he is in the middle of a very micro intensive game of Total War.
I think you're quite like that, actually. I think you're quite like that.
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
I don't do as much of the live commentary stuff though. So if I screw up, I can go back and do all that. Do it again. I try not to do that, but yeah.
That's exactly right. Turin's very, very good. And also, he's quite well respected in the community. A lot of people are starting to be made aware of him, so he's sort of up and comer.
Those very unique thumbnails.
Yeah, his thumbnails are hilarious.
They're just crazy.
Yeah, actually. But yeah, I thought give him a recommendation.
Yeah, go check him out, guys. He's linked in the description. And feel free to say the Warcast sent you.
If anyone's watched to this point.
Yeah, if anyone's still here, say hi. Just randomly in the comments. Just
get us that watch time.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think people watch us on the way to work sometimes, don't they?
I know a lot of people listen to it as well. We put it up on SoundCloud and iTunes as a podcast.
Yeah. Will this go up the same time? At the same time?
See.
SoundCloud. Okay, cool. Yeah. Well, are we going to come back for May? We're going to try to come back.
Yeah, we'll try and come back. Yeah, let's try and come back more regularly now. And as Warhammer 2's now been announced, I'm sure there'll be drip fed information now. So The Warcast
Hopefully
is
we'll get to
back.
good.
Get
Yeah.
hyped. Total Warhammer 2's happening. Get hyped. And historical Total Wars are still a thing. Get hyped.
And I'm sure there'll be
In a few
events coming
years.
up. Get hype, and we'll go to events hopefully and stuff, and see them, enjoy them,
Yeah.
and get the report back to you all. And
Except me,
Have a
I'll be a broke
party.
student, so
you never know.
Go fund
You
me.
never know. They'll invite you over, and I'll get my notepad ready.
Yeah, Rory's going to work on that scripting right now. He's going to send it over in the
Free-for-all,
morning.
_true.
Done.
Thank you.
Right.
Hold on, I can do this for you now. Hold on.
CA, are you watching this? I mean, seriously, for Christ's sake.
Have you done it
Are
yet,
you actually
Rambler?
going to show that to the camera?
You're
Yeah.
faking me my ears.
Quickly, Rambler, the
You've got
development
it,
time
Indy.
costs are going up exponentially every second, mate. Code, free for all. Done.
Easy.
There we go. It's confirmed, it's completed.
Hold on. I'll give instructions as well.
Oh, okay. Installation instructions, there you go. Is it going to be available on Steam? Press enter.
Press enter.
Love it. Love it.
There you go.
Anyway, cheers Indypride for joining us on this Warcast, this Warhammer
having me.
2.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming.
And yeah, was goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
You do.
And it's goodbye from me.
That guy.
That guy.
Ciao for now.
Bye.
Bye.